Everyone in the neighborhood thought Megan and Josh were the perfect couple. New house, new baby on the way, careers on the rise. No one ever saw the woman in the basement. Not really. Not until everything burned. My name is Linda Carter, and this isn't a revenge story. It's a remembering. It began on a cool morning in June, the kind where the sun slips quietly between the blinds before your thoughts catch up to the day. I stood barefoot in the kitchen of a house I helped buy, washing strawberries I paid for, in a home that had no space for me. Josh, my only child, my late husband James's pride and joy, was sipping coffee like it was any other morning. Megan stood beside him with her arms folded, carefully blank like a woman rehearsing detachment. "Linda," she said gently, "we think it's time you started looking for something more permanent. Just for you." Josh didn't even flinch. "We don't have space for you anymore, Mom." No trembling voice. No hesitation. Like asking for salt at dinner. I looked at them both, wiped my hands on the towel, and smiled. Not the kind that tries to make peace. The kind that makes space. "Okay," I said. "I'll be out by tonight." Megan blinked. Josh gave a small nod, already turning away. "Thanks, Mom." In that moment they thought they'd won. But they didn't know the truth, buried at the bottom of my suitcase, in a red folder that still smelled like cedar from the attic where I kept it. The deed. My name, right beside Josh's. Co-owner. 49%. They thought they were pushing out a guest. They were about to find out I was never just a guest. I packed everything I owned in silence. A paperback I never finished. The framed photo of James with the tiny crack in the glass. 2 suitcases I'd had since college. And that red folder. The fuse I was about to light. I didn't slam a door. I didn't yell. I ordered a cab, slipped out quietly, and never looked back. But as the house shrank behind me, I knew it wasn't over. Because while they were calculating space, I was remembering sacrifice. The day James died, we had nothing but debt and a modest life insurance policy. I didn't think twice when I gave every cent, $180,000, to Josh and Megan. They were trying to buy their first home, turned down by the bank, wide-eyed with new marriage dreams. I gave them everything. Megan hugged me like a Hallmark card and promised I'd always have a place with them. Josh kissed my cheek and said, "You'll never have to lift a finger again." But that was before the nursery plans. Before the fridge padlock. Before Megan told her friends she lived with 2 kids and a grandma. Before my Netflix mysteriously stopped working for 3 days. Before I heard my son whisper to his wife, "She won't leave if we're too nice. We've got to push her out without a fight." I moved into a small motel. Clean enough. Quiet. The kind of place where the carpet smells like someone else's history. I paid cash. I didn't want to leave a trail. That night, I held the deed on my chest like a shield. I wasn't angry. I wasn't surprised. I was done. The next morning, I printed 5 copies of the deed. Just in case. And as if summoned by the quiet, my phone rang. Unknown number. "Ms. Carter," a man's voice asked. "I'm Brad. Carolina Private Lending. You're listed as co-owner of 124 Grayson Park Drive." My heart slowed. "Yes. There's been a default," he said. "Your son, Joshua Carter, took out a $95,000 loan using the house as collateral. He hasn't paid in months. Foreclosure proceedings begin Friday unless it's resolved." A silence thick as syrup filled the room. I didn't panic. I asked for the documents. And when they came, I read every word with the same blue pen I once used to sign Josh's school permission slips. And then I signed them again. Only this time, I wasn't giving permission. I was giving release. By morning, the house would no longer belong to them. And I wouldn't need to say a single word. 3 hours after sending the papers, I received the first message. "Josh, did you cancel something with the house? We got a weird letter." I didn't respond. Josh again. "There's a notice on the door. Call me." Still, I said nothing. Then Megan. "Linda, please. We're confused. Just tell us what's going on." But silence, I'd learned, is sometimes the sharpest weapon. Within 48 hours, the orange foreclosure notice was taped to the door they once called theirs. I didn't see it myself. I saw it online. Megan's post in the neighborhood Facebook group. "Urgent. Our home is being targeted by a scam. If anyone knows good foreclosure attorneys, please reach out." The irony made me laugh harder than I had in weeks. But it didn't last. By evening, my phone buzzed again. People I hadn't heard from in years. My cousin Sharon, James's sister. Even the church ladies group. Linda, what happened? Because Megan had turned the story inside out. Told the world I had betrayed them. That I'd orchestrated some cruel plan to rob them of their home. She never mentioned the money I gave. The meals I cooked. The way I wiped countertops and kept quiet while they schemed. She simply played the victim. And Josh. He doubled down. He posted a photo of us, him at 5 years old, dripping ice cream in my lap, and captioned it. It's hard when the people who raise you end up turning on you. No names. No tags. Just enough for strangers to pick up the pitchforks. I considered defending myself. Posting the deed. The receipts. The texts. But I remembered something my father once told me. Don't wrestle pigs. You'll get muddy and they'll enjoy it. So I stayed silent. Until the sheriff called. Ms. Carter, said the voice on the line. This is Officer Reeves. Just a courtesy call. We'll be locking out the Grayson Park address this Friday at 10 a.m. You're not required to be there, he added, since you've signed off. I understand, I said softly. I didn't ask for details. I didn't need them. Because I could already see it. Josh stumbling to the door in his sweatpants, Megan crying on the porch, garbage bags on the lawn. I didn't feel joy. Just stillness. They chose this. Every step of it. That Friday I stayed in. Microwaved oatmeal. Peppermint tea. Motel silence. At 10:42 a.m., my phone buzzed. Voicemail. Josh's voice, low, brittle, angry. I don't know what you did, but we're out. Gone. You ruined us, Mom. I hope you're happy. That was it. No apology. No regret. Just blame. As if I'd tripped the wire they laid. An hour later, Megan texted. If you wanted to hurt us, congrats. We're being evicted. I hope you sleep well tonight. You've destroyed your family. That word, family, sat on my chest like a stone. As if they weren't the ones who dismantled it. I turned off the phone. Walked to the corner store. Bought a new notebook. On the first page I wrote, Today they lost everything. I found my silence. 2 days after the lockout, Megan returned to the spotlight. Not in court, not through a lawyer, but on Instagram. 10 slides. Pastel backgrounds. Cursive overlay text. When family betrays you. A digital sob story, wrapped in aesthetic filters and posted for sympathy clicks. Each frame spun a false tale. They had opened their home to a grieving elderly parent. They'd sacrificed comfort and space. And in return they were blindsided by legal trickery and emotional manipulation. The most galling slide? She called it elder abuse. I sipped stale motel coffee and watched the comments roll in. Some people just want to control their kids forever. This is why boundaries matter. You're so strong, Megan. Sending love. I kept scrolling, more out of habit than curiosity, until I saw it. Josh had commented. You did everything right. You protected our future. She chose destruction. I stared at it. Not because it hurt, but because it was such a casual lie. As easy for him to say as breathing. There was once a time he'd sob if I scolded him for spilling juice. Now he was rewriting our story to strangers online. Still, I said nothing. But silence doesn't mean surrender. The knock came the next morning. I didn't move at first. Experience teaches you. Hesitation is sometimes protection. Then a second knock. I opened the door an inch. She stood there, mid-50s, wind-tousled hair, clipboard clutched loosely in one hand. Linda Carter? She asked. I'm Doreen. From the City Housing Board. I saw some posts. I just wanted to hear your side. We sat in the motel lobby with its humming vending machine and a coffee machine that groaned more than it brewed. I told her everything. Every towel I folded, every meal I made, every silence I swallowed. Every dollar I gave. She didn't interrupt. Didn't take notes. I'm not press, she said finally. I'm just tired of good people being smeared by influencers with matching throw pillows. She left me her card. If you want help finding something permanent, I know a few doors I can knock on. And just like that, the thread started to untangle. That night, I opened my email. Subject: Request for interview, Charlotte Local Magazine. I didn't read it right away. Just forwarded it to myself with a different subject line. Hold on to this. Because stories have timing. And I was no longer telling mine on anyone else's terms. But Megan wasn't done. 3 days later, she posted a TikTok. Mascara smudged. Baby bump visible. A cardboard sign in her hands. Evicted by my mother-in-law. It got 80,000 views in 48 hours. Comments poured in. Women offering to start GoFundMes. People tagging local news stations. Then a familiar name appeared on my phone. Pastor Daniel from my old church. Linda, what's going on? Can I call you? That was the final straw. I pulled up everything. The deed. The $180,000 transfer. The loan default notice. Megan's text. Once she's gone, we can finally plan the nursery. No commentary. No explanations. Just the facts. I sent it all to the pastor, to the church group, to my cousins. 5 minutes later, my niece replied. Oh, so she lied to everyone. After that, silence. Not a single defense. No one excused them. I didn't need applause. I just needed the erasure to stop. Later that night, a message from Josh. Please call me. Just talk to me. 10 minutes later. I know things got bad. But you're still my mom. I didn't respond. Not because I hated him. But because some bridges don't burn all at once. They crumble piece by piece. Every time someone you love decides you're disposable. I stared at the phone for a long moment. Then slid it into the drawer. And whispered, still your mom. But not your fool. That night, I slept 8 hours for the first time in weeks. The next morning it started again. This time not online. A bouquet sat outside my motel door. White lilies. Josh used to bring them home when he was 15, trying to say sorry for denting the car or failing a math quiz. Now they were back. Cheap vase. No name. Just a note. Let's talk. Please. I didn't touch them. I didn't bring them inside. By morning they had started to wilt. The front desk asked if I wanted them tossed. I said yes. That afternoon he came in person. No warning. No text. Just a knock at 2 p.m. I looked through the peephole and saw him, hoodie pulled tight, eyes sunken. He looked like a man who hadn't been sleeping. I knew the feeling. I cracked the door. 5 minutes, I said. We sat on opposite ends of the round table by the window. He looked around, unsure who to be. I messed up, he said finally. I should have told you about the loan. I shouldn't have let Megan talk to you like that. I panicked. I didn't respond. Just waited. She's pregnant, he added, like that explained betrayal. I looked at him, really looked. For a moment, I saw the boy who used to cry when I left for night shifts. But he wasn't that boy anymore. He was a man who had kicked me out of my own house, lied about me online, and now was here because he wanted something. I didn't come to argue, he said. Just wondered if you'd sign something. Nothing big. Just something to help us negotiate with the lender. That was when it clicked. He hadn't come for peace. He came to pull a lever. He thought I was still a resource. Still a safety net. Show me, I said. He hesitated, then pulled out a manila folder. I read the paper once. Then again. It wasn't a simple form. It was a partial power of attorney, buried in fine print. It would give him access to manage foreclosure. And my bank accounts. I set the paper down. Get out, I said. He blinked. Mom. Out. He stood slowly, like one more line might save it. We're going to lose the baby's future. I looked him dead in the eye. You already did. He left without another word. I waited until the hallway was silent before I called the front desk and asked to be moved to a different room. Different floor. Different hallway. They didn't ask why. I packed in 15 minutes and moved before dinner. That night, I blocked Josh's number, not from spite, from survival. Because the part of me that still wanted to believe he meant it had to be protected. The next morning, I walked into the city housing office with Doreen's card in hand. She smiled before I even said a word. I want to move on, I told her. Not just from them. From all of it. She didn't offer applause. She slid a folder across the desk labeled Senior Housing, Coastal Options. On the first page, a 2-bedroom condo in Wilmington. Ocean breeze. Retirement friendly. Affordable with my pension. I circled it. This one. That evening an email arrived. From Megan. No hashtags. No emojis. Just 4 lines. I don't know what we're supposed to do now. We have nothing. I know you hate me, but think of the baby. I stared at the screen. Felt the heat of the words press behind my ribs. Then closed the laptop. Made tea. Watched the sun dip behind the parking lot. No reply. Not yet. Because what I was planning next wasn't a response. It was a reckoning. 3 days passed. No calls. No texts. No flowers left to wilt. Then, just after sunset on a Sunday evening, the knock came. I was halfway through a cup of peppermint tea, wearing pajama pants and a flannel shirt I'd owned since before Josh could walk. I peered through the peephole. It was Megan. Her hair was tangled, mascara smudged. In her arms, she held a small infant wrapped in a soft pink blanket, a diaper bag slung over one shoulder like a plea disguised as luggage. She didn't knock again. "Linda," she called softly. "I'm not here to fight. We don't know what to do anymore. Josh is falling apart. We got kicked out of the rental, failed the credit check. Please, can I come in?" I opened the door just a crack. She looked tired, worn thin in a way even her curated Instagram filters couldn't hide. "This is Emily," she whispered, rocking the baby gently. "She's yours, too. Don't shut us out." That part hit harder than I expected. I hadn't known the baby's name. I stepped aside. Slowly. Quietly. "Let her in." Megan entered like a stranger testing floorboards in a haunted house. Her eyes scanned the small room. "You still like it cold in here, huh?" she said with a weak smile. She sat on the edge of the bed, bouncing Emily lightly. "We really screwed up," she said. "I said things I didn't mean. We were stressed. Scared." I nodded. Not in forgiveness. Just to keep her talking. "Josh is too proud to admit it," she went on. "But he's drowning. We both are. Our accounts are frozen. We owe over $10,000 in late fees. Our phones are on borrowed time. I don't even know where we go from here." Her voice cracked. She blinked too fast. And that's when I noticed it, a small brand tag dangling from the diaper bag. "Posh Baby." A luxury line. I'd seen the catalog in the motel lobby. That bag cost over $900. "That's new," I said, pointing. She hesitated. "It was a gift. From a friend. Too fast. Too practiced." I stood up slowly and walked to the window. Parked at the curb was a black SUV, rental. "Clean, expensive." "You didn't come here to talk," I said. "You came here to get something." She flinched. "No," she said, standing with the baby. "I came here to ask for help." I turned to face her. My voice sharpened. "No, Megan. You came here to film something." Her eyes widened. "Where is it? Your phone? Your purse? The bag?" She clutched Emily tighter. "We just wanted proof. In case you tried to twist things." I stared at her. "You brought a baby into this. To bait me into cruelty. For sympathy clicks." Her lip trembled. "I'm not your storyline. I'm not your villain. And I am not your ATM." I opened the door. "Leave. And take the gift shop baby bag with you." She didn't move. I stepped forward. Closer than I'd ever been to her in anger. "Get out of my room before I call the police." She held Emily tighter, whispering, "She's your granddaughter." "No," I said firmly. "She's your child. Raise her better than you treat people." Megan left without another word. Walked straight to the car. Got in. Drove off. I locked the door behind them and sat on the bed. My hands shook, not from fear but from adrenaline. Because now I knew. She came to trap me. To clip a soundbite. To post one more curated tragedy. And I hadn't given it to her. The next morning, I walked to the courthouse. Filed for a temporary restraining order. I submitted everything: texts, manipulation attempts, the surprise visit, even a screenshot of the diaper bag's retail price. The clerk didn't blink. "You're not the first," she said. "And you won't be the last." That night, I returned to my room, opened my notebook, and wrote one line. They brought a baby to play victim. I brought receipts. Then I turned the page and started listing names. People I trusted. People I didn't. People I owed nothing to anymore. Because next time they came for me, I'd be ready, and they wouldn't see it coming. 2 days later, the restraining order arrived. Thick envelope. Court seal. Final piece of the puzzle. I made 5 copies. 1 for the motel. 1 for the police. 1 for Doreen. 1 for me. And 1 I mailed to Josh and Megan's last known address, with a sticky note attached. "You wanted legal. You got it." That night, I finally replied to the magazine. No pitch. No plea. I sent them the deed. The bank wire. The foreclosure notice. The text from Megan. "Once she's gone, we can finally plan the nursery." A photo of the luxury diaper bag. Subject line. "Since they want to talk, let's talk." The editor called the next morning. Her voice was sharp, but kind. "We believe you," she said. "Would you go on record?" I said yes on one condition. They open with my line. "This is not revenge. This is clarity." The article ran on Sunday. 3-page spread. Title: When Help Becomes a Weapon, One Mother's Account of Financial Betrayal. It didn't go viral, but it rippled. In Facebook groups, people stopped commenting and started discussing. Inheritance ethics. Housing rights. Adult children's entitlement. My name didn't appear as a villain. Not even as a victim. Just a person. A woman who had been erased, and quietly wrote herself back in. But the moment I knew everything had changed came later that week. I walked into the local coffee shop. Josh was sitting alone, hoodie on, face down over a half-empty cup. He didn't see me at first. Then he looked up. Our eyes met. He didn't flinch, didn't wave, didn't smile, just looked. And in that look, I saw it. Not regret, not shame, just distance. The recognition of a bond that no longer existed. I walked past him. No tears. No goodbye. That night he emailed me. No subject. I read the article. I won't contact you again. I'm sorry you felt like you had no choice. Not sorry for what he did. Just sorry I felt what I felt. I archived the email without replying. A few days later, the motel clerk knocked gently and handed me mail. At the bottom of the stack, an envelope with a real estate logo. And a note from Doreen. You've been approved. Keys are waiting. 2-bedroom condo. 2nd floor unit near the coast. Move-in date, next Friday. Rent, under budget. For the first time in months, I stood still and didn't look over my shoulder. I wasn't waiting for knocks. I wasn't flinching at unknown numbers. I wasn't doubting my right to exist without apology. That evening, I updated my will. Josh's name? Removed. Everything was split equally between a local domestic abuse shelter, a literacy program, the animal rescue I used to volunteer for. Then I sent one final email to my lawyer. If he ever challenges this, send them everything. Publicly. No reply needed. He understood. That weekend, one last message came. Unknown number. 4 words. We lost everything. Congrats. Megan. I read it once. Then deleted it. No reply. No reaction. Just quiet. That night, I packed for the final time. Not because I was running, but because I had finally stopped. The condo was smaller than I imagined, but brighter. Sunlight spilled across white walls and kissed the floors gently. No footsteps above. No passive-aggressive sighs. No fake apologies echoing down the stairs. Just space. My space. I dragged in 3 things first. My red folder. The photo of James. A small suitcase. I made tea with the old kettle and stepped onto the balcony. The ocean wasn't visible, but I could hear it. And that was enough. I didn't check social media. Didn't call old friends. I just unpacked. Filled my fridge. Bought 2 plants at a roadside market. One morning, I took a walk to the beach. A woman at a folding table was painting seashells. Pick the one that calls to you, she said. I chose a blue one with silver edges. Good choice, she said. That one's for people who just let go of something heavy. I smiled. Named it Peace. 10 days later, a letter came. Josh's handwriting. No return address. Inside 4 lines. I know I can't undo what I did. I don't expect anything. I just want you to know I'm trying. I named her Emily Linda Carter. I folded it. Placed it in the drawer with the now void deed. No tears. No smile. Just breath. That night, I stood barefoot in the sand and listened to the waves. Thought of Emily. Of the man who used to be my son. Of the boy who once cried when I scolded him for stealing flowers from a neighbor's yard. He was gone. But maybe, just maybe, someone better was being born from what he ruined. That wasn't my burden anymore. I turned and walked home. My phone buzzed once more. Unknown number. No message. I let it fade. Then whispered the 5 words I'd carried since the day they pushed me out. No space here either. Goodbye.